before, I think it was. Shout out to Captain Full G. Y'all make sure y'all go subscribe over to my homeboy, Captain Full G, man. He has a great page, man. Much respect and much power to my boy, Captain Full G, man. He's the salute blood. Keep pushing heavy content. Yes, sir. I'll keep out of.
My dear friend, there's a misunderstanding in public and some media. There is always anti-doping test after the fight. Every single WBC championship fight has mandatorily to have an anti-doping test. The clean boxing program, which the WBC pays for and has been working for the last 6 years, is a random testing, which is expensive and which cannot cover the whole world. Some fights are contracted also by the promoters to have out-of-competition testing, but also it is very expensive. So not every title fight has the 2-3 months prior to the fights testing, and that is nothing wrong. The rule says anti-doping test after the fight. Everything else is efforts from the WBC, from boxing commissions, from promoters to keep boxing clean and to have that system of doing random testing. So I hope one day people can understand there is nothing wrong. Fundora or PBC or no one did nothing wrong, because the extra testing is just additional to the rules.
Alright, so go subscribe to Blood. Check out his channel. Now, let's get straight into it. I'm going to use Manny Pacquiao because when I pick and choose fighters and it isn't, and you don't like the narrative behind it, you seem to get emotionally retarded. All right, so we're going to use Manny Pacquiao because everybody like to say Manny Pacquiao this, Manny Pacquiao that. So I'm a Pactard and I'm going to use Manny Pacquiao as an example. So let's go straight into what this man's saying and his problems with VADA, the clean boxing program, and the gray area to it. Now I'm going to make the whole video. I'm going to let you see his interview, but I'm going to cut into it so we can read between the lines and my opinions, and then I'm going to go back to the video. But I'm going to put the link, the description, right, and the link below so you can see the full video, so you can know that I'm not cutting things out, and you can see the whole video. But as this man talk, I'm going to get in between and try to break down some certain things within this, right? All right, so let's go. Let's get it.
I kind of want you to address it as far as, you know, the drug testing before and after this particular fight, and in general, the protocol that Manny follows.
Yeah, so it's real simple. Earlier in the year, or the end of last year, we signed up for the WBC VADA clean testing, 365, 24/7. You know, the Manny can be tested anytime, anywhere, because the first thing Manny wants everybody to know, he's probably the cleanest fighter I've ever been around. Been tested more than anybody, you know, that I work with a lot of guys. So after we signed up for that, we were doing the fight January 19th with Adrian Broner. We signed up for VADA drug testing for that fight. It was administered, you know, numerous times, every 3, 4, 5. For the Broner fight, everything was absolutely clean. Everything was clear.
So Sean Gibbons, right? He says, we signed up for the WBC. That means the clean boxing program with VADA. Now, like I said, let me base these rules here. VADA is voluntary. When you volunteer yourself, there's 8 weeks prior to the fight, and there's post-fight when they do their testing. When they administrate, that's the key word. Administrated means VADA administrated under their own VADA rules, and they take their specimens to what lab? Water lab. That's the only lab, okay? I'll get into that a little later. When you under the clean boxing program, they do things a little different. If you could recall, and I'll put it in this video, that Maurice Silliman said that we can't always do additional testing. That means the way VADA does it. But we could always do post-testing where all fighters are not doing anything wrong. The PBC is not doing anything wrong. The promoter, the advisor, not doing anything wrong, because basically all we need to do is post. Anything additional to that is additional, right? So let's say, if you heard what he said that we signed up for the WBC VADA testing. VADA administrated it with the Broner fight. It happened 3 or 4 or 5 times. So we could assume that when Sean Gibbons said that, he cut his sentence right there, right? Like, I don't know what's up with that, but he cut his sentence right there after he said 3, 4, or 5 times. Go back to the video and you'll see it. He said everything was good. Everything was great. You know, VADA administrated. Remember, under the clean boxing program, they administrated. That means they take the sample. That's it. That does not necessarily mean it goes to the same lab under the clean boxing program. So all I'm saying, if the clean boxing program in their budget, because they have to pay VADA a certain amount of money to test these fighters, which Maurice Suleiman said is very expensive. So if, let's say, I'm going to get the benefit of the doubt, they did testing for Broner 3, 4, 5 times prior to the fight, right? Cool. And they did post, great. Blood and urine, great. Even if they include blood, because it's more expensive, and urine, great. All good. VADA administrated. The samples are there for the clean boxing program to take it to any lab they want to. Okay? And guess what? Even if it went to WADA, if it's 3, 4, 5 times, well, that could be 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks under the clean boxing program. But they can't afford the whole 8 weeks. You see what I'm saying? 8 weeks means random. Random in 8 weeks. If you did random in 3 or 4 weeks, it's still not the protocol that VADA goes by. So let's keep on moving. And let's listen to what he say, comparing Broner and what happened to the Keith Thurman fight. And let's try to read in between the lines. Let's get it.
Fight was administered, numerous times, every 3, 4, 5. For the Broner fight, everything was absolutely clean. Everything was clear. So leading up to the Thurman fight, we thought, basically it's going to be the same type of drug testing. Whoever administers it, we were had no problem. We're already signed up. So we got the papers about 45 days out to sign up again for what we thought was VADA, what turned out to be the Nevada State Athletic Commission using VADA. So either way you look at it, it's VADA administered. It's the same. Whoever picks up the sample, VADA goes to the same place. VADA goes to the same place. The sample goes to the same place. So it don't matter who's doing it, if it's Nevada or VADA.
Correction on my part. The last clip, I just said that clean boxing program hires VADA to do the testing. Oops, sleight of tongue, the wrong word. Administrate. Clean boxing only use VADA to administrate, right? And this is what Gibbons said. Well, it doesn't matter if it's VADA or the Nevada State Athletic Commission doing the test, because Nevada State Athletic Commission, they hire VADA, and they're the one in charge of the whole fight, right? But it doesn't matter, because guess what? This is what he said. They all go to the same place. Let me correct that right away, and then I'll move on. So now let's look at this right here. This is the official VADA. It's a tweet, I think, but it says VADA, and you know it's VADA because at the side it will say VADA / official tweet or whatever it is. Fighters, and this is what he's telling the fighters, not every PED testing panel is the same. Not every lab is the same. Not every doping control company has the same experience. Ask question, unspecified drug testing in a contract does not mean the best of most thorough. There you go. You see what it says right here? Unspecified drug testing in a contract doesn't mean the best and most thorough. Let's talk about it.
Clear. So leading up to the Thurman fight, we thought, basically it's going to be the same type of drug testing. Whoever administers it, we were had no problem. We're already signed up. So we got the papers about 45 days out to sign up again for what we thought was VADA, what turned out to be the Nevada State Athletic Commission using VADA. So either way you look at it, it's VADA administered.
He said leading up to the Thurman fight, he thought, this is the word he said, he thought that everything was going to be the same the way they did situations with Broner with the clean boxing program. The same situation. That's what he thought. Then, when it came to Keith Thurman, and the key word he said here, we signed up. We didn't care who administrated it. Say it again, Sean Gibbons.
Clear. So leading up to the Thurman fight, we thought, basically it's going to be the same type of drug testing. Whoever administers it, we were had no problem. We're already signed up.
So, whoever administrated, we signed up already. We did VADA administrating it, not test, in the beginning. Now, when it comes to Keith Thurman, we don't care. We signed up for the clean boxing program. Come to find out, something changed. Well, come on, Sean Gibbons, but you know that you don't care. You signed up for it. We don't care who administrate the test. We did what they want us to do, and that was to sign up to the clean boxing program. That's telling me, reading between the lines, that you know that VADA is being used at certain times in certain fights, but also the Nevada Commission is also being used also. So it was a change. Let's talk about this change. Go ahead, run that track, Sean Gibbons.
Leading up to the Thurman fight, we thought, basically it's going to be the same type of drug testing. Whoever administers it, we were had no problem. We're already signed up. So we got the papers about 45 days out to sign up again for what we thought was VADA, what turned out to be the Nevada State Athletic Commission using VADA. So either way you look at it, it's VADA administered. It's the same. Whoever picks up the sample, VADA goes to the same place, Nevada goes to the same place, the sample goes to the same place. So it don't matter who's doing it, if it's Nevada or VADA, but the difference was that VADA, it's kind of like an ego thing. Dr. Margaret Goodman, she wasn't in control of it. Like, I want to be the person that administers it, I got to control it. No, Nevada, the State Athletic Commission, who's in charge of the whole fight, they called and hired her. So what happened was she put out a press release, which was completely wrong and started this whole hysterical thing about no VADA testing, which was a complete lie. And we're very upset with Dr. Goodman, why she would do this to try to tarnish Manny Pacquiao and Keith Thurman for anything other than being two of the cleanest fighters. Neither one's ever tested, for anything. Neither one's ever been really, accused of anything. But she took it upon herself just because she wasn't doing it personally to put out a press release, which is absolutely absurd why she would do that.
And so now we see that the president, Margaret Goodman of VADA, had an issue with this situation. Because, see, now, hold up. This clear here. It's killing me, man. It's damn clear. Let's see, that's better. Yeah. So, Margaret Goodman, see, now how you read between the lines, something's not right. Now, the way I see it, do I feel like Margaret Goodman was trying to tarnish Manny Pacquiao's name? Or she was trying to get back at the clean boxing program? So I'm going to go two different ways with this. With the first way that I feel like this is what's happening. The Broner fight, not testing, administrated by VADA. Labs went to the clean boxing program. They do what they got to do with the labs, right? And that's that. That's the way I see it. Now with the Keith Thurman fight, just like he said, Sean Gibson said, 45 days out, I'm getting the paperwork, and it's not VADA administrating the tests. So the clean boxing program decided, let's take VADA out of it, right? And let's use Nevada Athletic Commission. Now, is that Manny Pacquiao's fault and Sean Gibbons' fault that maybe they don't want to pay or save that money for the next fight because they on a budget with VADA to do administration? Is that? But it looked like you're tarnishing Manny Pacquiao's, because the way I see it, Margaret Goodman is saying, listen, Manny Pacquiao and Manny Pacquiao and Keith Thurman is not was administrated by VADA. And she's telling you the truth. But at the same time, I can't say that she's trying to tarnish their Manny Pacquiao's name, because at the same time, I showed you that Twitter where she said, hey, not every lab panel, not every testing, and under a contract, you're not going to get what we give you, the official VADA, 8 weeks and testing, and it goes to the laboratory of WADA. Those 3 things. So was she trying to tarnish Manny Pacquiao? No, she was just going to be like, listen, man, we use you. We have a contract with you, clean boxing program. But it seems like you'll use it when you want to. And then if your budget or whatever it is, you use the Nevada State Athletic Commission, but at the same time, you're using our name saying you use VADA all the time. Is that Sean Gibbons and Manny Pacquiao fault? No, because the way I see it, and that's why I have no problem using Manny Pacquiao. I have no problem using Manny Pacquiao. And the reason why I have no problem using him, because he's been in the game how many decades? Not years, decades. And how long has the clean boxing program been around? Okay, so you do the math. So if I see that Manny Pacquiao is doing something over here different with the PBC and the clean boxing program, but all his life he's been tested, never got popped, never used a pubic hair to see if it needed testing, right? None of that stuff. None of that shit. Been tested numerous times all his life. Way before this stupid clean boxing program came along. Okay? Been on the official VADA site. Right? Been the most tested, having about 24 titles. Listen, man. So I got no problem, and I'm not bashing Manny. But what about your fighters? But that's why I use my fighter for example, because you funky apes get real funky when you use your fighter or you mention a fighter. And that's what I'm trying to do in this video. I ain't mention no fighter. I mentioned Manny Pacquiao because y'all get a hard on and y'all want to bust a nut so badly to catch this dude, Manny Pacquiao. So this is not about Manny Pacquiao. This is about Mr. Goodman and the clean boxing program and how they're not standing up to code using VADA all the time to administrate. And that's it. That's it. That's all that is. So, yeah, there was some kind of beef between Manny Pacquiao, Sean Gibbons, Margaret Goodman. Yes, there was. There was a beef. Now, there's another beef that we got to get into, where there was a discrepancy between 2 other fighters that had the same issue. And there was smoke and mirrors and shit like that. But hold on. Let me let you finish a little bit what Sean Gibbons is saying, and then we'll move on. All right? Just a little bit more.
So let me ask you, is it fair to say, though, that Manny Pacquiao, considering that this was, I believe, his 24th world title fight, wouldn't that sort of lead us to believe he's like been the most drug-tested fighter of all time?
I would think so, because again, let alone fighting 24 world titles is unheard of in this game. I believe Hopkins did around 20, Triple G did around 20. Maybe there's some guys. Klitschko was up there with quite a few defenses. But yeah, he ranks in the top of fighters that have ever been drug tested. And the whole hysterical thing with drug testing started years ago with Floyd Mayweather Sr. accusing, with no basis at all. He got sued by Manny Pacquiao. He had to pay a confidential settlement to Manny Pacquiao for all of his nonsense about Manny being on something, Manny testing or something. And that's kind of where it started. And like I said, and then this Margaret thing just really fueled a fire in this day and age of social media, like something was going on. Because the moment someone does an article Nobody checks the facts anymore. They believe the Twitter, they believe the initial headline. There's no VADA testing, which was absurd because, again, any way you look at it, VADA was involved. But if someone's ego, someone's not getting paid, they do it a different way. What was her purpose, first of all? To bring out a statement that VADA is not testing, which it's a gray area because they are, but they aren't. Nevada hires them, pays them. The guy that showed up was 100%. I'm here for VADA. This is VADA testing. I have all the paperwork. I sat in the room when Manny was tested on numerous occasions. I filled everything out, all the vitamins. A guy announced again, VADA. So for her to, like I said, the moment she put that out, it just created a hysteria around the fight that took away from it a little bit. We all had to play catch up. We all had to, the Nevada Commission had to come out with a statement. We had to come out with a statement. Everybody, all because for whatever reason, and if you ever get a chance, you should ask her, why did you have to go on record? What was the reason? Is it your ego? Why? There was nothing, because if she doesn't come up with that, Nevada goes on with their testing, and if anybody asks us their drug testing, we answer correctly. We answer with the truth. Yes, we were tested by Nevada, which used the services of VADA. So again, I'm not sure what Margaret's end game was, but she really tried to hurt, the whole fight, and Manny again, who's always been in that program.
So he's all over the place. Talking about Manny Pacquiao was always on the program, right? I think what he's trying to say is that he was on the program when he went over there to the PBC, right? So, and the way I ask you this, I have to be careful about saying things about the PBC, because then you're going to say I'm a PBC hater, right? So I'm just asking you questions. Can you write it down in the comment? If I'm wrong, correct me. I ain't coming out here trying to, tell you I'm right. I'm saying read between the lines. I'm not here to change your mind. So let me ask you some questions. The Broner and Manny Pacquiao fight, right? Under PBC. That's a PBC fighter. Was that for the WBC belt? No, and the WBC belt is Maurice Suleiman Clean Boxing Program. Okay. Manny Pacquiao fought Keith Thurman. For what belt? The WBA belt. But Keith Thurman is a PBC fighter. They under what? Clean Boxing Program. And who's that? Maurice Suleiman and the WBC. So what I'm trying to say is that are the sanction bodies, WBO, IBF, WBA, right? Are those are they under the WBC Clean Boxing Program? Do WBC runs the Clean Boxing Program under those names? Because I remember Manny Pacquiao had a WBO belt with Bob Arum, okay? And at that time they was getting tested too. Okay? So now that I know that reading between the lines that Broner and Keith Thurman, they PBC fighters, and even though WBA, he was fighting on the WBA belt, Manny Pacquiao, he still had to go under the Clean Boxing Program. So that tells me that the Clean Boxing Program and the PBC has a contract, right, for the PBC fighters. Okay? It's not the Clean Boxing Program is ruling all the sanction bodies and telling the WBO, you got to be under the clean. Your fighters got... So now we know, right? Well, I know now, basically, because I'm learning, that, hey, two fighters, that one was a WBA champion, one was just a PBC fighter, and he had to fight. And when he fought, he had to be under the Clean Boxing Program, where VADA administrated the test. Not tested, not took the labs and took it to WADA. They just administrated. Let this get out your thick skull. Administration means taking samples of blood and taking samples of urine. Now, when you're in the Nevada Athletic Commission, do they always take blood? Not always. They take urine. So with the Keith Thurman fight, it was different from the Broner fight. Basically. So these are the lines you got to read in between when they say certain things, and how the clean boxing program, because he's a president. Maurice Suleiman is a president of the WBC. He ain't the president of the WBO when Manny Pacquiao was fighting under the WBO or any other countries that Manny Pacquiao fought all over the world. He's been the most tested. So we're going to finish with this Manny Pacquiao, right? And we're going to move on. So, Mr. Fanon, you was kind of right in a way. And I was kind of wrong until I found this. Now, there was an email that you was trying to explain to everybody that everybody should be hushed the fuck up about this VADA drug testing shit, right? So I put it on my last video of VADA, and it was Ryan Conley, chief counselor, chief lawyer for the company of VADA. He's the chief counselor. He's a counselor of lawyer for VADA. And he put out an email. Yeah, he put out an email saying that Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence and Ugas is under VADA. And I said, you know what? The man didn't lie. He's a lawyer. And he's telling the truth, but not the whole truth. Right? So help me God. It's not the whole truth, but it's true. So he's a lawyer. He knows how to get around things. So I said that there's still reasonable doubt, because even though they're saying he's on VADA, does not mean that he's on the official VADA. Okay. So now I ran upon this thing with these two fighters, right? Let me go to the email, because I was wrong. I mean, yeah, Riley Conley, he put out an email, but this email here is a real fucking email from the president, the CEO, Margaret Goodman. Run the track, man. All right, so this is the official Snack Nutrition website, right? And I'm trying to put the puzzle together with certain situations. So I'll get into these paragraphs later, but let's go straight to this email. And what is this email about, right? So let's move up. Let me scroll through it. And it says, Margaret Goodman on the email. Monday, June 28, 2021, 1:48 p.m. So now, this is Dear Rachel, and that's Flash Donito Donaire. That's his wife, right? And she's like a manager for Donito Donaire, right? So this is what it says here on regards to John Casimir. 6/25/21 at 8:45 a.m. TGB, you know TGB, Tom Brown. That's with the the PBC. This is the TGB, right? That just offered Canelo to fight Benavidez, what's this other guy? Charlo and Errol Spence at a catch weight, right? You know, 45, 55, all these millions of dollars that I'm sure it's not that hard to make a contract between Bud and Spence, since you have so much money to give Canelo to fight, right? So let me go on. So this is asking TGB a request. I am unable, it says, I emailed Sean Gibbons the whereabouts and application form that needed to be completed. I'm just going down, I'm taking my time, you know what I'm saying? I'm new to this. So 6/25/21, 1:02, same day, a little bit later on, I received the whereabouts form sent from TGB, right? 6/26/21, 1:03 p.m. Received our application forms from TGB. Okay. Note, here comes 6/25/21 at 5:54 p.m. Mauricio Suleiman sent me only Mr. Casimir whereabouts on what? WhatsApp. I advised we needed the form emailed to me, but also required the application form, as without the application form, we cannot enter the athletes in Nevada and begin testing. Okay? So now, regards Nonito Donaire, 6/22 at 12:31 p.m., we received Nonito's VADA application and whereabouts form. That was very easy, brother. And VADA made the Twitter announcing on 6/26 and sent out the acceptance info on 6/27/2021. Okay, per the request of TGB. However, let me see if I can move it up a little bit more. However, as there appears to be no bout schedule at this time, I'm sending out an email to all parties that testing has been suspended unless unless we are otherwise notified on either camp wishes to continue with tester eligibility. Okay? Kind regards, Margaret Goodman, MD, VADA president. Okay? So that's the email. And it's on the Snack Nutrition. And I'm going to promise you, I'm going to put this link so you can see. Now, I'm going to read a little bit of stuff, right, about what's going on with this situation with Nonito Donaire, right? I'm going to get into it. All right, so let's go. Here we go. And this is what's so interesting. Okay, this is very interesting. Okay, on July 19, news broke out that the highly anticipated all Filipinos. So this ain't black. This ain't a white thing. This is no injustice between one person because one is darker and one is whiter and all this shit. This is two Filipino bantamweight unification battle between a WBC. This is what I love right here. That I could get anybody on that want to argue with me. WBC champion Nonito Donaire. Now he's the WBC champion. And WBO belt holder Casimir was set to take place in Carson, California on August 14 on Showtime. Now remember, this is what it looks like in the beginning when you look. It's WBC Clean Program, a shield. Is it a shield? That's the title. So now we know Nonito Donaire is a WBC, and we know there's a WBC Clean Boxing Program co-contract. But this is the shit here. This is the situation here. Let me see if I can find it. I want to take my time. A week later, the pairing had imploded after a week-long and very public back and forth played out social media between Rachel Donaire, the wife and manager of Filipino Flash, and Sean Gibbons, who represent Casimir. On the morning of July 26th, the Donaires had told organization of the event that we are walking away from the fight. The battle centered around the drug testing, specifically the enrollment in VADA, Voluntary Anti-Doping Association program, which was provide a comprehensive drug testing protocol leading up to the contest. It has to be started that the Donaires irradiated. I'm sorry, I can't say the word. When you read it, you'll find it. It's not getting this into a contracted beforehand. This was a glaring omission in the fight contract, but the pugilistic Miss Donaire kept setting deadlines for Casimir to sign up for VADA. And this is what came back. They were told constantly by Gibbons that they were already under the WBC Clean Boxing Program administrated to VADA. So, Rachel's talking about, I want you enrolled in VADA. And they saying, Gibbons is saying, nah, I'm already enrolled in VADA by the Clean Boxing. So, it's so funny, Donaire, that is a WBC, is telling them that you're not enrolled, right? So we go down here, which while factually true is misleading, it turned out that Casimir had an incorrect whereabouts form and had never actually been tested under the WBC CB. Okay, whatever. I don't care if he was under the WBC CBP program. I don't care about that. So let me go down, and I'm not just taking shit out. Because they talk about the WC and Nevada and their program, but I'm going to get to something right here. They go Montero, he explains what's going on. Let me go past the email. At this point, what's interesting is that Victor Conte, founder of Snack, who's consulted in the past with VADA Pro about the drug testing from the upcoming match between Manny Pacquiao and ERROL Spence. Gibbons had the same defense. That, like Casimir, legendary Pacquiao was under the WB Clean Boxing Program. Okay, so it's clear that this is now being used as a shield. Okay, I don't want to get into bashing them right now. I want to get into more of this right about exhibit opposing camp. Just bear with me. This is what state of giving a okay about the truck. So here's what it was talking about. Okay, so right here it says, while Donaire will point out, I can't say the word, sorry, exhibit by the opposing camp as a reason for canceling this bout, the lack of transparency in regards to drug testing was the central reason this fight was called off. They could have brushed off the tasteless insults as long as they felt sure that they was having a level playing field. You hear that? They could have brushed off the tasteless insults as long as they could just feel secure that they was on the same level playing field. You know what this playing field I'm asking for everybody to push? It's for ERROL, SPENCE, and CRAWFORD to be on, right? Okay, so Donaire is a pioneer of sorts in this given that he was the first boxer years ago to actually sign up for year-round full VADA drug testing. Here, all we was asking for was about 7 weeks. Wow, not even 8 weeks, 7 weeks, as Casimir and their team dragged their feet. Donaire decided to make a stand by walking away. Okay. Let's see. That's gonna be yeah, that's about it. So as you can see, even though they are Givens and Casimir and Givens and Manny Pacquiao was under the clean boxing program, but let's just talk about Casimir as we talk now. Donaire wasn't having it. He says, I want the real VADA. Okay? And at the end of the day, Casimir whereabouts for him was all over the place. They couldn't figure this out. You got Maurice Suleiman sending things on WhatsApp, and Miss Goodman is like, can you send me an email? I don't need to see it on WhatsApp. You know, all kind of foolishness. All right, let me get back to what I was saying. So you see this email, okay, but I ain't accepting no email from Riley Conley, the chief counsel lawyer that knows how to speak and get the corporation VADA out of any situation. I'm looking for what Margaret Goodman had to say about Flash Nonito Donaire and follow through with the whereabouts form and the application so both fighters can get set up for the VADA. Not the clean boxing VADA, but the official VADA. And there was a problem because Nonito Donaire wanted Casimir to do 7 weeks. Yeah, there was a lot of buffoonery going back and forth with Casimir and their team calling Rachel, Nonito Donaire's manager, slash wife, slash taekwondo champion, slash model, all kinds of insults and stuff like that. But smoke and mirrors. The real situation was that he didn't want to do the 7 weeks, not even 8 weeks. They asked for 7 weeks on the program. And he dragged his feet and shit didn't happen. And we moved along and that fight didn't happen. So let's move along again. All right? Let's move along again to another situation where I was listening to Michael Montero. Matter of fact, I'll let you listen to it, right? This is kind of he say, she say, right? And you could not take the word or you could take the word. But there is a video out there. And if I get my hands on that video, if this situation ever comes up with Crawford and ERROL Spence, that video clip would be golden. And Michael Montero, if you do have it, find it. Because I feel like if this fight happens, it's going to be gold. And you're sitting on the gold mine right now. Because let's roll the tape. Let's start off with Mikey. And let's see what Victor Conte was trying to tell Mikey when fighting ERROL Spence. Okay, and like I said, I'm not a Victor Conte fan. I told you about that. But at the moment right now, we're trying to read between the lines with every little situation at every moment. Okay, so let's move it.
Okay, but so state commission testing's a joke. Why do I bring this up? Because that's what Pacquiao and Spence are doing right now. But Mike, I saw people on Twitter saying Pacquiao and Spence are doing VADA testing. How does this work? Here's what they're doing. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and put it out. I don't give a shit because people, you know, they don't like me anyway. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. No one else in the media will talk about this. They are doing state commission testing, but they're having VADA, they're contracting VADA officials to administer the testing. All right? There's one certain particular promotional platform that's doing this right now. I'll let you guys do the math there. Several recent pay-per-view events in Nevada, specifically, they were doing this, where VADA officials were hired to administer the state commission testing. So, they're spinning it, the promotion, people attached to the promotion. The promotion isn't officially saying it on their social, but people attached to the promotion are saying, this is a VADA-tested fight. VADA's handling the testing. Well, that's true, but not necessarily true. It's a half-truth. VADA officers are administering the testing and the adjudication process if something's discovered, but it's not the full VADA program. It's not the full VADA panel. They're not testing for the full list set by WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, on that prohibited list that I showed you guys, which, by the way, they update every year. Sometimes, several times during the year, depending on what's going on. And they update thresholds. The ERROL threshold was recently updated by WADA, right? So actually, what Canelo Alvarez tested positive for a few years back, that wouldn't be a positive test right now, because WADA, taking into consideration contaminated meat and stuff like that, changed the thresholds of allowable thresholds of clenbuterol in the system. So VADA follows that, right? But they test for the full panel. State commission testing, a couple dozen things. So it doesn't matter who's administering the testing. What matters is what's being tested. It sucks that it has to be this convoluted. It sucks that people use these things as a way to manipulate and spin things. But this is why you guys come to people like me. This is why people like me are never going to have a network job in this sport. But fuck it. I like telling the truth. That's what's going on. All right? So there's a major now. When Mikey Garcia fought ERROL Spence, Mikey Garcia was working with Snack and Victor Conti, and Victor said, hey, look, I used to be into this doping shit. I know how it's being done. Don't fight this dude without full VADA. So it was actually Mikey Garcia, through folks at Snack, pushing him to, who demanded the full VADA program for his fight with ERROL Spence. So they did the full VADA program for that fight, right? And that's the fight you guys remember. It was in Dallas, went the distance, whole nine. Okay. Spence, to my knowledge, has not done the full VADA program since. He never did it before. In fact, when I interviewed him once for a piece I did for Boxing Monthly magazine, he said, I ain't paying for that shit. That's basically the way he responded to my question. If someone else wants to pay for it, I'll do it. That was his response, which a lot of fighters would say that, right? But Mikey Garcia demanded it for their fight. Right now, you have a situation with Pacquiao and Spence, where neither guy's demanding the full VADA program. They're both cool with standard commission, state commission testing. It's all good. So the spinsters in the media and the YouTubers and all this kind of stuff are saying this is a VADA-tested fight. It's not, guys. It's not the same thing, okay? So when you hear me on my show talk about full VADA versus state commission testing, that's the difference, okay? It doesn't matter who's administering the testing. It matters what the panel is. Are you testing for 30 banned substances or 150? That's the big difference, because...
Okay. Who do you know that has sponsored over 20 boxers and paid for them to be on VADA 24/7, 365? Nobody but me. Money.
All right, so that clip when Michael Montero explained the situation with ERROL Spence, Mikey Garcia, and what founder Snack, right, said to Mikey, because Mikey sponsors Victor Conte's product. And he said, listen, young man, if you're going to fight ERROL Spence, make sure you do the full 8 weeks prior and post. And like I said, and like Michael Montero will say, and I will put that clip there if you want me to, that VADA just do not do random drug tests. They would randomly test you in one day. And I'll let him explain that about the urine samples in the morning to later on in the day. But let's get to this thing, because I put a clip of Victor Conte talking about, yo, I sponsor over so many boxers. They take care of my product that I pay for their VADA. I pay for their VADA. So I was like, hold up now. That little clip with him, I was like, wait a minute, did he pay for Mikey Garcia VADA? And if that's the case, and Michael Montero had an interview with ERROL Spence, which I wish I could get that interview, man. But that's your interview, and if you go in your archives and you find it, and if something comes up with this situation, with this VADA testing, or something is, because sometimes shit be confidential, and a lot of people don't know why something didn't work out in the contract. And they come up with their own narratives why it didn't happen. And mostly it'll probably be money. But like I said, I don't see no reason money should be the problem. If Canelo's getting offered by TGB, that's with the PBC, millions, 45, 55, 30, whatever it is, millions of dollars. So I don't think that's the issue now, right? So when I see Victor Conte said, yeah, I pay for your VADA. Well, and then I hear Michael Montero had an interview with Spence, and Spence said, nah, I ain't paying for that shit. Get out of here. I ain't paying for that shit. Let somebody else pay for it. So this is my question, because I'm reading in between the lines of two different clips here. And I'm saying, when Victor Conte told Mikey Garcia, don't let this happen, I got you. I'll pay for it because you sponsored my product. This is my question. And anybody in the comment below that has some sense, not no stupid ass bullshit, that has some sense or could do more research, do Victor Conte pay for Mikey Garcia and ERROL Spence? Since in that Michael Montero video, you did say that ERROL Spence said, nah, I ain't paying for that shit. Because who wants to put all that money into volunteering, to the volunteer? Who wants to put that money? What boxer want to do that? Right? So if you have somebody sponsor, hey, you put up the money for both fighters. That's the way it is. I mean, I've seen that with Nonito Donaire. He signed up for VADA, the real VADA, and he was trying to push this real VADA on Casimir. Now, if Casimir said he's set up with the WBC clean boxing program, enrolled with VADA, I mean, that's the enrollment. It ain't costing no money. You just got to be enrolled. But over here, there's different rules. You see what I'm saying? So let's see. I know this is a long video, but hey, I like details, man. And if you like boxing, I'm not going to give you 5 or 10 minutes. I'm sorry. That's not how I roll. I can roll once in a while like that, but when you see my videos, it'd be a whole heap of shit. And I try to limit my talking about me and all the other shit. Like right now, I'm blabbing it, all right? So let's explain a couple of things, and I'm going to end it. But let's say the enrollment, the sponsorship, because Michael Montero explained a couple of things when he spoke to, and he's not like bashing the clean boxing program. He's not, because they're the only one that try to do something in a row, but they're not funded properly. So even in the last video, Michael Montero showed you ways where you could take 1% here, 1% there. If the fight is over 100,000, he used an example with Fury and Wilder, and how they did the full program and all this rah. And if the fight is over 100,000, you take 1%. Hey, they're taking 1% or whatever percent for the sanction fees, right? So you could just add that to the pot, and when you have a big mega fight, well, that helps for the testing for that fight. Also, you got 350 boxers, right, including the women boxers. Well, minus all that and just do testing for unification, undisputed, main bouts. That should be on the playing field, an even playing field. That's what we talking about here for Crawford. And people missing this shit. Like, I'm glad that I go out my way and I do things my way. You know, I just don't make contact waiting for somebody to say something. It's all good, but I do it too, so I can't say that I'm better than the next man. But sometimes when you see something, because this video, my last videos on VADA was not to do with what ERROL Spence. I tried not to bring his name out, Crawford name out. That's not what it is. I want them to fight, and I want to play an even field. But I'm seeing that there's things that you could do. So let's go into this clip here. It's going to be, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to do this right. What's the reason why I'm so into this situation? Now, you can read between the lines and put things together, right? But why is it so important? Besides, we're not playing boxing, okay? We could play, you know, hockey, soccer, you know, all this other shit we could play, right? But we're not playing. We're fighting. That's the whole goal here, to fight. So VADA and all these drug testers do count, right? So what is my interest with this Crawford fight in ERROL Spence? Why am I so interested in this? Well, Michael Montero is going to discuss to you the weight. And the weight problem, and how people fix their weight. Now, if you want to pick and choose what boxing I'm talking about, it's fine. But like I said, with Manny Pacquiao, people had accusations, assumptions, suspicions. Like I said, all that's there. It have to exist, right? But I can't use it I can't use it as a fact to win an argument. I can't just do that, which people do. They use assumptions. Say, "Oh yeah, he's on." Yeah, but we're talking about facts. We ain't talking about what you think. So right now, I'm showing you some suspicions and shit like that I think, but it won't hold up in court, and it ain't gonna hold up in an argument. Basically. So let's talk about weight. Yeah, Montero, come on, man. Roll this with these dudes, man. Let's educate these dudes, Montero. Come on.
Behind that, because it's not the same thing as doing a full VADA program for 2 or 3 months before a fight, where you're being tested several times a week, blood and urine. Some days, multiple samples are being collected the same day. Sometimes they'll come and collect urine first thing in the morning when you hit the gym, and then at the end of the night, right before you go to bed. And that makes a huge difference in what's the word I'm looking for? The concentration of the sample. Okay, that makes a massive difference. So, let's show you this really quick, okay? This is WADA's prohibited list. Now, WADA is the World Anti-Doping Agency, right? They set the protocols for all the anti-doping agencies to follow. So whether it's USADA, UCAD, VADA, whoever it is, they have to go by this prohibited list. And this document's like 20-something pages, right? You'd hope it'd be simple, it'd be 1 page, but of course they can't do that. Here's the thing that WADA does. They have certain substances that are banned at all times, whether you're in competition or out of competition, as you can see here on my screen. If I scroll down enough, though, you get to where is it at? That list is pretty big. Yeah. Okay, now we get to a list. These are prohibited in competition, meaning you're training for a fight, if we're sticking with boxing here. So you cannot take these drugs or consume these substances while you were in competition, right? But there are some that you can actually use out of competition, which is kind of weird when you think about it, right? And then there's certain substances they don't want you to use for particular sports that you get here. So some of these testing groups actually use in competition and out of competition lists for what they're testing for. VADA is the only one that I know of that always tests for all prohibited substances, whether you're in competition or out of competition. That's what separates them from the USADAs, the UCADs, groups like that. There's certain nose sprays and stuff like that, hint, hint, if you guys probably guess what I'm talking about, that you can use out of competition. But then in competition, you can't use. Well, VADA's going to get you even if you're using it out of competition. You see what I'm saying? So that's just one of the reasons why I trust VADA more than all these other groups. But there's several reasons more. I can get into all. I can talk for hours about this stuff. Now, let's see. I talked to Mauricio Suleiman about the program too. And to his credit, he's trying to get sponsorships. He's trying to get sponsors involved to help raise funds to increase the budget. So he recognizes that the budget needs to be more, and he's looking at doing that through sponsorships. The bigger issue here is weight checks. Now, the WBC, again, I give them credit. They're the only sanctioned organization doing this. But they currently do 30, 14, and 7-day weight checks for title fights, right? I say fuck that. I say expand it to every top 10 ranked fighter for every month. Every month, a fighter has to submit a photo of them on a digital scale weighing in, and they have to be within a, let's see, what's the note, 12% threshold of the division they are ranked in. Now, where do I get this 12% number? I got it from talking to several experts, okay? Where do they think a fighter should be? If you want to say 15% leniency, fine, but I think every fighter that's ranked should weigh in every month, once a month, and submit it to the WBC, so it within a 12% threshold, to where if you are a middleweight, that's 160 pounds, 12% is 179 point something, almost 180 pounds. That's as much as you can weigh in or out of competition. If you come in weighing 181, boom, you're unranked for the middleweight division. That's it. You're unranked. Weight is the bigger issue here, more than muscle. This isn't the 80s. Guys aren't using steroids to bulk up with muscle. Some heavyweights do. But outside of that, most people using dope right now, most dopers in boxing, they're doing it to cut weight. They're doing it to aid and assist in recovery, but they're also doing it to cut weight. Weight's the biggest issue, the weight bully thing. They'll never change weigh-ins to the day of the fight again. Not happening. There's too much business involved with weigh-ins now. They'll always be the day before, guys. You got to give up the dream that it's ever going to be the same day. It won't. So what you can do is you can institute a year-round weight check program. So these weight bullies that walk around weighing 210 pounds and get down to 160 somehow, gee, I wonder how they're doing that, especially within 2 or 3 months they're doing this shit. It's insane. Those guys should not be ranked in the division. If you can't maintain a 12 to 15% threshold of the division you're rated in year-round, you're not in that damn division. Boom. That would solve a lot of problems. Most of the deaths in boxing are actually related to dehydration and weight cutting. That's the biggest issue in boxing right now. It's also a huge issue in MMA. They have more of a steroid issue over there, though, than boxing, but still, weight cutting is a big thing over there, too. Big deal. In wrestling, right? And most of those guys in that world come from a wrestling background. That is where, a lot of weight cutting issues. So I see.
So you see, weight cut, and the way he said that, this is your career. You're a boxer, right? You shouldn't be up that high in weight, okay? Just because you ain't boxing and you on chill time, you should be putting on that weight. So I agree with Michael Montero that this should be happening all year round. And if you hit over that weight, hey, you're not doing your job, okay? You're a boxer. This is your career. In and out the ring, be responsible. Yeah, give some people responsibility so they can have some damn discipline. Yeah. So now I'm hearing about the weight cut, and I got my suspicions. Just like you have suspicions of Manny Pacquiao, and you got suspicions of Errol Spence nipple, and you got a suspicion. Everybody got suspicions, speculations, and trying to use an argument with that, right? That's a part of the argument and shit like that. So I'm saying weight cut. Well, you know what? I got a suspicion. It ain't gonna hold up in court, and I ain't gonna win an argument about that. I see a lot of dudes that cut weight, and it's so easy to say you got a nutritionist, you got this, you got that. But like I said in my last video, and I showed you all the compounds, and now, like he said, this ain't about just, bulking up or getting stronger. It's basically cutting weight. So you got fat loss agents. And you have certain boxes that have fat camps and this and that and shit, right? And I showed you that in one of my videos on VADA, that in the fat loss agent compounds, you got Sintomel for your insulin, for your thyroid. And your thyroid releases T4 and the active T3 that helps you burn up your metabolism and put you back like you was 18. And remember, I showed you Boost Ennis and Fodero, and how they young and they big, 5'10", one is 6'6", and how they could keep their weight like that is because they're young and their hormones are high level already. When they get up to Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, see the difference between Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, that's the same thing as Manny Pacquiao. Difference between Manny Pacquiao and Tank Davis, well, they body types, ectomorph, mesomorph, endomorph, okay? And if you could be a mixture of both. So when I see Manny Pacquiao with the same 5'5", 67 reach, you know how Blue say and Tank is the same height and same arm length and everything. But I noticed that Manny could go down to 140 easy, where Tank, he's a little bit big boned, right? And he could put on weight easy. Instead of losing it, well, he could probably lose it, but I'm just saying, hypothetically, I see that even if he could lose it, because he's still young, he's like 27, 28. But some dudes, when they get up there in age, they still have a fast metabolism because their thyroid released a hormone called what? T3 and T4. Okay? T4 is like a reservoir that tells your brain tells your body to release to T3 to make it active if you need T3. So when you take these compounds like T3 and you take it and you know how to break it going up, because very slowly you have to let your body adjust to it. And then you have to slowly come back down, right? But in the meantime, when it's going up, the medication that you're taking off the black market, underground, very easy to get, very easy, right? And you losing weight. And you back to like, oh, I'm eating like a whole heap of food and I could never gain any weight. Was because you just gave your body T3 or there's other agents also besides T3 with half-lives that you can take to help you lose fat. Do your research, all right? And that's why he said that VADA, they don't just test, because you could take these compounds and have a great camp, bro. A great camp. You're a great training camp. Losing weight, you got more fast, your ability, you got more adrenaline, you got more just more of everything, right? So when VADA tests, the real VADA, yeah, they'll test you in the morning to see your concentration of your urine, right? Where it looks more dirtier because you've been sleeping on it and you got to pee. Where later on during the day you're drinking a whole lot of water and then you could just purify it more or whatever. So they have these tests to know that if you on camp, you got a fat camp, you're using compounds for speed. What's that word? Oh my God, what is the word? What is the word? Stamina. Okay, because those fat agents give you stamina also, right? So it comes with body types and age too, basically. So like I said, you see certain body types, same height, same arm reach and everything, but one could gain and one could lose. There's always a great part to this shit. But if you just think one way is for everybody, then you're a moron. I think you're a fucking imbecile and shit like that. So I'm glad he broke down the fat camps. And yeah, I might have a suspicion. Everybody has suspicions of everybody. But like I said, you can't win in an argument because it ain't a fact. But it is one of my one of the most important thing to me, because if these fighters are using these fat agents to go down in weight, I have a suspicion. I can have a suspicion on certain fighters. And I got no problem with that. And this is what I'm telling you about Crawford. Crawford needs to put this man, I don't care about my suspicion, but I'm just saying, put it on an even level, a level playing field. Put this man on VADA. Let's see how good this nutritionist is. Because like I said, you can have a nutritionist all you want. Let me tell you something. You could go to the gym. This is what some of these trainers don't tell you. You can go to the gym all you want. You're going to see results in your 20s and shit like that because you got fast metabolism and you could gain muscle and your hormones are up high. But as you get older, like I said in my video, hormones drop. So yeah, you can have a nutritionist giving you the right foods to eat and stuff like that. But there's one thing that you can never, it's your hormones. You ever see people, they go and they train their hardest. They got discipline, they got dedication, but they can't just drop those last pounds. For men. Women, on the other hand, sometimes they can't drop that fat because they was born that way for labor, birth, to nurture a baby, and they have necessary fat that they think they need to get off. Well, I'm sorry, it ain't gonna happen. Go to liposuction or cosmetically get it done. That's the way it is. If you got wide hips, you peach, you're small on the top, you got wide hips, and you want to get your hips down, you've been trying because you don't like your hips too big. You know, there's some women that don't like their hips too big. I know there's a lot of women that love their hips big, but there's some women they don't like it, right? Well, you just got to cosmetically go get it done, liposuction. But with men, as we get older, it's harder for us to lose weight. And you can have a great diet. You could work your ass off and you still can't lose those weights. You still can't lose that weight. And you're saying, why? Why when I was in my 20s I could, but now in my early 30s, everybody's built different. Their systems are built different. So if you got aerospace busting through the seams trying to make weight, come on, man. And this is a problem. And now you hear him after the fight with Ugas, he back in the gym. Hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. And we still don't have an announcement for this fight. Maybe he's back in the gym because he have to stay on top of his weight. And his body and his hormones are telling him, bro, you not at this weight no more. You need to be 10 more pounds heavier, or 154, whatever it is. That's where you need to be, but you keep fighting your body and fighting your body. Nutritionist, yeah, perfect, but you're still fighting your body. Hey, so I have a suspicion, but it's nothing that I could say that's solid. I can't, because he never failed a drug test. But I'm saying, let's keep it on a plain level field. So Crawford and Errol Spence, we don't hear the videos afterwards because, you know, the channels, they love narratives and like to come up with shit. So they'll say, okay, now we could talk about drug testing and shit like that. Nah, my dudes, this is the time. Spence channels. I don't know Crawford. I don't know Manny Pacquiao, but I want to see them have a level playing field. I do. But see, I think it's getting to the point. Well, I'll get that in another video. I'll get that to another video. But if you want to look for the best interest for Crawford, push this. Yo, if you can you imagine all the channels, 3 Illa, Mac Mob, all these channels, that's Rebel Life, Bud Beats Spence, I forgot the name of that one. But you know, all these channels just come together and just say, we pushing this one agenda. You know the other side, there's 2 things going to happen with the other side. That's what I said, read between the lines. There's either 2 things going to happen to the other side that's pushing for Spence. It's either 1, they're going to pretend like y'all ain't talk, we ain't listening to what you said, or 2, somebody's going to get affected. And they're going to be like, yo, why do they keep talking about this VADA shit? Why do they keep talking about it? Hey, but you know what? The contract haven't been signed. But if the contract gets signed, and hey, and if Crawford decides to go with the clean boxing program, hey, all power to you, man. Like I said, if y'all want to get this fight done and you don't care, whatever, and you just want to do it the way they want to do it instead of you doing the snack and the way it's supposed to be done the proper way, hey, all power to you. Then I'm making these videos, yeah, it might not lead up to nothing, but guess what? It might lead up somewhere in the future. So even if it ain't going to work for Crawford and Spence, hey, I'm making my videos, I'm doing my way, and hopefully somebody will hear me and recognize that if Mikey Garcia has an issue with the 8 weeks program and the clean boxing program, and you got Victor Conte saying, hey, I think you should fight Errol Spence this way, I'm pretty sure this is going to happen again sometime. And if it ain't Crawford is snack or sponsoring Crawford and trying to say don't fight Errol Spence this way, and if it's not those 2 fighters and it's somebody else, this is here for y'all to watch, to understand it. That's it. Basically, that's what it is. All right, listen. I'm not here to change your mind. I'll just give you lines to read in between, and if you want to, you can read them. If you're ignorant and you're pissed off and you're just hoping that, you know, it is what it is, you've got that mentality, hey, fine. But I put my time and effort in this, and my goal is to let all of the other channels, hey, you don't want me to take no credit? Fine, y'all can pretend like y'all don't see this packed hard. It's very easy to do that. You know, I understand. Like I said, I got to make a video reaching out to the brothers about how I see Manny Pacquiao, Crawford, and Errol Spence, because everybody know that, look at my channel, I was only doing the welterweight division and Manny Pacquiao, Errol Spence, and Crawford. That's all I was trying to do most of the time. If you see all my videos, it was all about that. Once I heard Errol Spence was gonna fight Manny Pacquiao, I was like, oh, it's on. So I will get into another video talking to the brothers that's on Crawford's side, and let them explain something about me, right? And where my situation is, right? But if you look at the videos, if you look from VADA equals undisputed, and everyone up there, you will get educated. So when this time come, brothers, my brothers, when this time come, and there's some issue, and you hear something like, oh shit, the only nigga I heard talking that shit was Caps. You know, let me go scroll down and let me do some research with this brother, because I'm trying to just pick out shit detail and put them together. All right, I'm not here. Who is this calling me? I'm not here to change your mind. I'm here for you to read between plenty lines. So when the time comes, if there's some kind of problem, you got your ammunition, brothers. That's it. All right, I'm out.